let me just.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you.
No worries. So as you guys can see, this is the dashboard. So essentially when you log in, you're going to be taken to a page with 4 quadrants. For your account specifically, the top left quadrant of team activities will be blocked out because you are not under the design module. All you need to focus on is the recent job activity, which is part of the hire package. This looks at job assessments, setting those job benchmarks that you create for new roles. And then the bottom 2 are these assessments that you send out, essentially the behavioral assessments as well as the cognitive assessment. You're able to track them under the pending assessment box at the top, bottom right, and at the bottom left, you'll see the ones that are completed. So the dashboard is just your organizational chart. You're able to come back and look at what's happening, what the most recent activity is. At the top, we have a search bar. It's a universal search function. I like going over this feature just because if you want to search for an individual, let's say, Sarah, you wanted to search Taimour's cognitives or behavioral, you just write the individual's name in there and you're able to pull up their file. Whoever's in your software, you have the ability to search them up. And that goes for their job benchmarks and assessments as well. I'm going to quickly show you how to disable cognitive data. We usually have questions regarding this for our client success team. As you can see, I clicked on my name over here, which says demo user. Right under that, it says hide cognitive data. Now, if I click on this button, a blue bar appears at the top where it says cognitive data is hidden. Essentially, what that means is our cognitive has been disabled for users. So if you go into your account and you're wanting to share your screen, and cognitive is usually a private matter, so we like giving you that option to disable it. This will allow you to kind of disable, not pull up any of cognitive reports or even send out any cognitive assessments. And simply to fix that, if you want to enable it back up, that cognitive assessment, send out cognitive reports, you'll just click on show cognitive data, and then that will be solved. So that's just for privacy reasons. It's an option you have. It's not always used, but I like kind of pointing that out because sometimes we do have those questions or customer complaints on cognitive not working. Now I'm going to quickly jump into the administration features, but do you guys have any questions at all of what I just went through so far?
Is it possible to go into or log into our account because we did some testing and I wanted to, I was curious to see as a company, what are we strong on and where our delta is? And then
for that user access, I unfortunately do not have access to your account or your data points. Okay. However, what we can do is if you guys are comfortable, one of you guys share your screen and pull up that account, and then we can kind of walk through that.
Sarah, do you want to do that? If I may trouble you, Sarah.
My internet is cutting a little bit, so I think it's better if Ross or you can share it, please.
No worries, I can do it.
I will stop sharing my screen right now and we can start off with that. And if you guys can pull it up, we can kind of just focus on your specific questions on your data points.
Thank you. I probably have to go and look for my our user and password, but give me 1 minute.
No worries. Here, you know what we can do until then? I can kind of pull up those administration features and tell me when you have it ready, we can get going with you sharing the screen.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you.
Because I know this is being recorded, so you can always look back. But as you can tell, we're back at my screen. You see the demo user account. If I click on administration now, I'm taken to a page where I see 3 folders: user management, folder management, and company settings. We're going to start by looking at company setting features. This is just important for account owners to know because you might have questions or concerns on logins or just the company technical settings. So at the top, we see assessment settings. This is essentially the activation dates and link. So how long will that link last before it expires? You have the option to change the behavioral assessment and the job assessments timing. So we have a minimum of 4 days before a link expires to a maximum of 30 days. So like I said, you guys can come on in here and change it to your standardized time period at your company. A cognitive assessment strictly lies at that 14-day period still. We don't change it, have any changes to that at this time. If I scroll down under company settings, we're going to see software email settings as well. This is just our default messaging, our verbiage that we provide. For example, if I click on the behavioral assessment, you're going to see a preview of what your candidates will essentially see when you're sending it out. This is going to be standardized verbiage that what we provide, but now you have the option to come on in here and make it more consistent with your company standards, change the subject line, change the messages, and edit it live. I do want to note that whatever is changed under company settings will be changed across all platforms. Meaning, Russ, if you log in and you change anything under company settings, the changes will apply to Sarah and Taimour's account as well.
Got it.
Now, if I scroll down, we're going to be seeing anonymized people data. This is a quick overview. It's just basically removing an individual's data from the software, and that means completely erasing. You're not deleting the person, you're essentially erasing them from the software, meaning that our headquarters at PI can't even get them back. This is only required when individual candidates specifically reach out for privacy reasons, things like that. But we don't recommend you do this, because if you do decide to anonymize a person, you're completely erasing them from the system, and to get them back, they will have to do that behavioral and cognitive assessment again. So to do that, you'll just click on anonymize by person. You can search whoever it is in the software. If Zoe requests that I anonymize her, I click on Zoe, anonymize records, and then she will be completely erased. Now, if I scroll down, you're going to see language settings. We do offer our default languages in over 70 languages, meaning you can change your software settings to be in whatever languages that is appropriate for your team. However, it is good to note that our candidates have the option to change the language of the questionnaires of both the cognitive and behavioral assessment. We always recommend that candidates take it in their native language, but the results will always follow through with whatever default language you have set. So meaning if our company has it in English and a candidate decides to take it in French, your results will always follow through in English.
I found our link. Can I go to our link? Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to stop sharing now and you can pull up that screen.
Thank you. Okay. So I can see the people have done this, me, Asanka, Brandon, Sarah, but I also know Russ has done it because Russ in a copy of his.
Okay.
I don't see it anywhere.
Okay, so do you want to just click on view all? It's just on the left side.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
And
got it.
I see
Okay,
Russ's.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, great, awesome. I can delete this guy.
So do you want to delete the Friday one? Yeah, you can delete it. This will just remove this individual from your software then.
Okay, cool. So now if I look at, I don't know what column means, but whatever, Maverick. Everybody's a Maverick except Asanka is a persuader and Brendan is the operator.
Correct.
My first intuition is, do they feel unfit? And what do I need to do to remove that unfeeling out of them? Not because of the survey, but maybe because of how we come across. I know that me and Russ are very much, we think a lot alike, I think.
Okay.
Sarah looks like she thinks a lot like us. So like, that's like my first reaction.
Okay, so are you asking, well, what these are reference profiles, okay? So they're based off of that individual's behavioral assessment. That's their first self instinct, their self-concept, and it's showing. Reference profiles it's not an indication of if you guys work well together or if you don't. It's just how an individual lies, how their working capabilities are, and how they view themselves.
Okay.
So to start off, I want you to kind of have that understanding, because I do see that majority of your team is Mavericks, but you do have a few different ones, correct?
Yeah.
So is your question saying, is that a problem? Would that be a problem having someone that's a persuader on your team?
Yeah.
So depending on, I would definitely recommend you using that team discovery design portion of this. That allows you to see that strengths and cautions within your team. So you have a list of individuals and you can post them on a quadrant that will pull up their team discovery. It'll show your team type.
So sorry, I apologize. Team discovery. Where do I see team discovery?
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the dashboard. If you click on your PI logo at the top, yep, just go there, perfect. And now first, before we start, if you can scroll back up and click on your name and just click show cognitive data. So we can get that out in the open. Perfect. And now if you go on design, on the design tab at the top left, this is what team discovery is. So team discovery allows you to launch. I'm assuming you guys have one team within
Yeah.
your system. So this will allow you to launch one team and really create a chart based off of everyone within your company, all the employees you want to include. And then this will show you your team type as well as those strengths and caution areas you need to worry for regarding those employees. So perfect. You write your team name and now search the individuals you want to include in the team.
In this cross-functional team, select the option. Is this a cross-functional team? I'm going to say yes. Unsure. Russ, I'm sure, right?
It is.
Unsure?
It's optional at this point.
What does it mean?
Yeah, I don't even know what it means.
So cross-functional team is, will they be working together or will they be working into separate groups and so on, things like that.
Yes.
Together.
Yes.
So
do I need to put, okay, so I'm not going to put it there. In which area does this team need to improve on?
Yeah, so this is something you have the option to do right now, and that's going to help us kind of generate the specifics of what you need to look at. But if you're not sure, we can always just start by looking at your team and seeing where everyone lies. So we're going to launch it, correct? So perfect. So now you're seeing your team. As you can see, there's 4 quadrants. Our 4 quadrants consist of different areas: the teamwork and employee experience, innovation, agility, results and discipline, and process and precision. As you can see for your team, you guys are lacking at the bottom 2 quadrants for individuals that should be in that center areas.
Yeah, that's very cool. Sorry, that's not very cool. What I mean is that I didn't know that, right? Like this is what I was like really interested in learning that. So what you're saying is we lack what?
So process and precision players, meaning you lack individuals with those reference profiles. So that would be like an operator, someone technical, artisan, things like that. However, you do have individuals in the innovation agility. So these are your top mavericks, your social ones, teamwork and employee experience, as well as those ones that like to collaborate with the team. So as you can see, this is what your team lies at right now. However, going into this, you might have more specifics like what do you want to improve on? Where do you want your team to kind of go towards, and that team dynamic. So what I would recommend you to do now is click on that next chart. It should be below. Perfect. And now you're able to see your team type. It shows your team profile, which is an exploring team. And if you just scroll down, you're able to see the detail.
Where does it say that?
Right at the top, if you see that emoji with that.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. So you see an exploring team, it has a little rocket ship over there. If you see the details of it, it outlines your team strength. So it's going to be outlining it, comparing each individual's behavioral assessment. So Taimour, Sarah, Russ, whoever's in your team, it takes all of your assessments, puts it together, and kind of compares and contrasts now how you guys work together.
Okay, can I just ask you just allow me 3 minutes of just open conversation with my team, if I may?
Of course, I'll mute myself and you guys just do your thing.
You don't need to mute yourself, but just, so Sarah, you work closely with me.
Yes.
You say that the way I'm reading this is I'm not a process and precision person. Maybe I'm not. There was 2 emails that Russ sent yesterday or the day before yesterday leading to the webinar. Every one of Russ's emails was about process and precision.
Yeah.
That's just because that's what our current flow is needing.
We're moving now for that.
So Joel would fit into process and precision.
And then every time I talk to Russ, he talks about results.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like, I'm not saying this is an outlier, but like.
Yeah, well, having said that though, the teams that I've managed, typically I create the vision and I pioneer and put the frameworks in place and then they run with it. And so they're the ones that actually are more focused on the results than I am. As long as they're happy and they're improving, they're enjoying it, then to me, that's winning. Whereas there's definitely people out there, yes, I'm results focused, but it's more the overall. Whereas there's individuals that I've hired have always been like, and I think it's pretty boring just being results and discipline, but that's what you need in a team if you're needing consistent new results all the time, you know?
Okay.
But I get Ross. Like Ross works with operators, but he has the vision on how to get there and to
Okay.
tell him how
Fair
to
enough.
get there. But he
Fair enough.
works with operators that do that precisely.
Okay, listen, I'm not debating. I'm just saying what I'm saying and what I'm
No,
interpreting.
yeah.
Okay, good. So now let me go into again what I'm seeing and what I'm interpreting. Strengths. We are as a company, we're strength and we're ambitious and eager to drive things forward. You bring energy and excitement to your work. I would say, I don't know
Yes,
which
sir.
one of us is not that. So I would agree with this.
Yep.
We're quick to make new connections. You're good at building relationships, expand your networks. Okay, I
Yep.
don't know about Sarah. Well, yeah, maybe for Sarah. Okay, fine. I don't know. Brandon doesn't come across to me as that kind of a personality, but I'll go with I'll
But
pretend.
look, Brendan, and look where Brendan is. He is more of teamwork
Teamwork.
experience and process and precision.
Okay, fine. Always asking what's next. You're excited driving the market to new places. Okay. Okay, like I'm not a yes. I'm not like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Like that's where I am. Okay, fine. Hold on. Potential cautious areas. With a strong focus on speed and innovation, process and efficiency may suffer. Okay, I don't need
100%.
to write a software to, like, that's obvious to me. You may be too focused on a big picture and not enough details on need to implement your ideas. I would say, Sarah, in terms of the Dominican Republic event, I would say you would be a testimonial that this is true. We were like, rush.
Yeah,
But
and another
generally
thing.
speaking, I don't know. Generally speaking, I don't know. Like, look at our webinars for the year, or for the next 6 months. We know the topic, the date, like.
But
Right.
that's areas that we've identified and now we're fixing. So this is our natural response of who we naturally are.
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
If I hadn't driven for a content calendar, can we do this next event? Can we do this? I'm not saying I'm good at those things, but I know that that's what we need in order to be more cohesive.
I understand. Okay, fair enough. Listen, I'm not saying, okay, great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Potential cautious areas. You may be quick to abandon your ideas if they don't work perfectly the first time instead of irritating. So as a company, are we quick to abandon our ideas if they don't perfectly?
I think so at the moment. Yeah, it's
I don't
called
know.
shiny toy syndrome.
Okay, fine. Sidra, I apologize. I just had to take a second
Thank you.
and digest the information. I didn't want
No
to
worries.
through it. I actually wanted to appreciate the dashboard if I'm okay.
And
So now
no worries.
click on the next one, takeaways.
Yeah, so the takeaways will take you towards a planner where you're now able to implement the things that you want to work on. So any specific areas that you think your team is lacking or those individual quadrants that don't have anyone, you can add now these action planners that will then kind of result in you actually need more people in, let's say, the results and discipline or the process and precision. So if you click on Open Action Planner, it will offer you a few questions over here where you can kind of filter through. You can add your own actions as well by manually doing it and writing specifics of what you're looking for. But this is, like I said, it's a teamwork assignment. I always say that you should really think this through while you're doing it so you know exactly what you're looking for. Right now, this is just a demo, so we can kind of skip. I just wanted you to kind of get used to it and see it. And now if you go to the next tab as well, we're able to now choose what type of team we're working with. Are you doing it for a standard team or is this a leadership team?
I would say standard team. Russ, would I be accurate to say standard? I mean, we're too small to have a leadership team and a standard team. Would you agree?
So does this team consist primarily of organizational? Yes. Yeah, we're all in this together at the moment. So I don't know if that answers your question. I don't.
So
really.
like the standard team will be like individuals that are working on the front lines for it. You guys have the plan. You know exactly what you're doing. I think leadership would be more on that executive level of individuals that are kind of overseeing that standard team.
At the moment, we're all in the coal face.
Okay, perfect. So then, yeah, stick with the standard team. And now, as you can see, we have given you prompts on the right side where you can kind of filter through them. If you click on them, Taimour, you're able to then see a bar will appear on a specific quadrant area. So if you just click on one, for example, this is something you're looking for. So now it's saying that we need to work on our innovation and agility. It'll outline those then strengths and those working points that you need to go towards.
Okay.
So,
So I want to tell you what I'm understanding this.
okay.
What I'm understanding is maybe, I don't know if we do this as a company, but maybe Russ will say, what are the objectives? Decide tactics and take action to outperform competitors. Maybe that's Russ's objective. I don't know. Russ, I also don't want to speak to you. I'm just kind of like
No,
saying
today is not a final decision-making meeting. This is just a fact-finding of how does it work and then how
Exactly.
we're going to utilize it in the future.
And you can always edit it out. Like today, we're just kind of looking at it, seeing how this work and what the function is. But I would recommend you do it within your teammates, the members that are part of it, so you guys can work alongside it and understand what the objectives are. So you can all.
Yeah, we're already going in the right direction, Taimour. That the internal lawyer hire would balance, I think, our team out based on this data.
Yeah.
Like in one swoop, it would balance it all out. What Taimour was just going through, those objectives for future, are you then saying that dictates or assists in your hiring decisions of whether the people coming in will fit to make our team more whole? Is that
Yeah, so exactly. That could be one part of it. It shows you, if you saw right over here at the top left, it shows team type and then the strategy type. Strategy type is essentially the type of team you want to become. So it will kind of motivate you to hire those other individuals that are kind of missing in those quadrants or what areas you're looking for.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. So
But
now
it depends on role type as well, though. So
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I suppose it's just a tool to assist us in hiring decisions, right? It's not.
It's an additional tool, and more so from hiring, it's really to learn about the team dynamics that are already existing within your teams. So I would say use this as kind of that last resort of if you are going towards that candidate pool, trying to figure out who to hire. More so it's for your current team and where you guys want to kind of go in terms of strategies and objectives.
Is there any kind of templates that show top salespeople? This is where that last the longest, that are stickable and coachable. This is generally what they show.
So what we offer is kind of a target profile. So for example, a salesperson, right? What you would do is under our hire portion, we provide you these job benchmarks and targets that I would say is mostly used by our previous clients. So it's already within our software. It's integrated inside of the software. And you can kind of use that as a starting point for when you're hiring and looking for, let's say, a sales role. But I do want to highlight that this is just a starting point for you. It should just be used as a benchmark before you add on from your stakeholders of the specifics you're looking for.
Okay.
So I can, yes, sorry.
Go ahead, please.
No, so I was just saying I can definitely show you how to get to that benchmark target profile if you're interested in looking at that and looking at those different inputs you can add from stakeholders when creating a new role.
Can we do that as and when we're creating a new role rather than have to do it all up front and then forget it because we're not actually hiring for those roles yet?
Yeah, for sure. You can do it at any point, basically.
So Russ is in the near, very near future, maybe looking for them salespeople.
Okay.
Sarah may be looking for social media people.
Okay.
And let's say I'm looking for a lawyer. So the social media person should be really creative, but I can't afford the lawyer to be creative. I need the lawyer to be ultra conservative, if I can say that way.
Yeah.
Can you teach us how do we create an assessment, or at least the assessment we don't change, but can you teach us how do I know if somebody's creative versus somebody's by the book versus somebody who's a good salesperson?
For sure. If you don't mind, can I start sharing the screen because I can kind of pull that up for you.
Absolutely, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go with one of your specific examples. Can you guys see the demo account?
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's say we're going for that marketing role. We'll start with that and look at a creative profile. So to do that, we're going to go on set a job target under hire. And now we're going to add a new job. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter, let's say you're looking for a marketing manager. Now, once you enter that in, as you can see at the bottom, we have a job family results. What that means is all of the job benchmarks and target profiles that have been made for our other companies, for other teams, are now written here. They're AI generated with our summaries, with our points, and all the stakeholder inputs. I'm going to click on the first one because that's exactly what I'm looking for. But now what I would recommend you doing with your team is adding a brief job description. That can be 2 to 3 sentences, a quick summary of what you're looking for, just so our software can kind of generate the most exact needs that you're looking for. We're going to go on create a job. And now I'm taken to a job target profile. Essentially, the profile shows you exactly what you're looking for in terms of reference profile. It shows you're looking for a captain, meaning that you'll need someone with those captain behavioral traits, someone who does a behavioral assessment that aligns with this. That's more so a social profile. It'll show you the noteworthy behavior traits. However, this is just a starting point. Best practice is then to go on view additional options, and you're taken to a guided job targeting process as well as sent to stakeholders. So a guided job targeting process, if I click on this, it takes me to the job assessment portion. Now, Sarah, what I would recommend you doing is sending this out to individuals that know the specifics of this role. So someone who knows what you're looking for, the exact traits of what will require within this role. This allows you to take a cognitive and behavioral assessment. It's 10 to 12 minutes long, and it allows you to fine tune the specifics of the role. So if you go through this, it's more so a questionnaire. You're able to answer. We always recommend you send it to 3 to 5 people. These stakeholders need to know the specifics of the role. So you can now create that job benchmark. So I'm just going to skip this step and go back. And send to stakeholders, you just click on view additional options and you list their names as well as their emails. You send it out to them and they're able to then take that job assessment that I just pulled up for you guys. Now, if we go back, we're going to just stick with this target for this tutorial. I'm going to now see that behavioral target and that cognitive target. Now, the behavioral target and cognitive target is listed manually, so you're able to change it. Let's say I want a marketing manager with a higher COG score. I can pull it up. If I want the behavioral target to be aligned more so with a different profile, however, this is the recommended profile, so always stick with what is recommended. Your recommended profile is a social profile. It's a captain. So you want to make sure that that captain profile is showing. It has a high A and a high B. It has a low C and a high D. So these are how you kind of read those behavioral targets. Have any of you guys gone through the drive results workshop yet? It's a 3-day workshop.
No, I have not.
Okay, so I think this would answer one of your questions. I think, Taimour, you were asking how can you tell what's the creative side, what's the more analytical side? To understand that, you really need to understand how to read these profiles, how to understand the behavioral targets, because these are ABCD factors. There's a science behind it. The 3-day training session really allows you to understand how to read the self concept, and the synthesis graphs. It shows you how to connect it back to the jobs you have posted, and it allows you to really understand the value of each quadrant factor. Sorry. So as you can see, the marketing this is an independent role, sociable. This individual has to be sociable. However, they also need to be driving. And then this individual also needs to be precise because they're going to be in a marketing position. So to really see what you're looking for, you create this target profile, send to stakeholders that know the specifics, and then you're able to generate a job that you can link to candidates when you're sending out. If I click on accept targets, I'm going to be taken to a page where I can now assess candidates and compare the candidates' scorings with the scorings we have assigned. So it looks like I'm just going to refresh my page. It's taking a second. Okay, so let's just go with this role. The behavioral target is set, meaning that my stakeholders have assigned what each factor needs to be. The cognitive is set. If I scroll down now, you can see that there are a list of candidates that are pooled to this job. What I'm able to do now is look at their overall score and compare and contrast it to the benchmarks we've provided. If I look at Nash, for example, Nash has an overall score of 4, behavioral match of 3, and a cognitive match of 5. This
Out,
individual
out of what? 4 out of what? So what?
out of 10. So our max point would be 10. 10 is that ideal candidate hitting all the targets that you've assigned or hitting it to a close point. As you can see, the behavioral match is a 3 because the A and B factors from the target we have assigned are on the high end. However, Nash is on the low, so it shows complete opposite of what we're looking for. The C and D factor of Nash's are on the high end, while the ones that we put for our target are on the low. So this is already showing me that this individual would not be a strong fit for the role. Our
Can you-
cognitive, yes.
Sorry, can you search below? Can you rank by 10 for both overall or all of it? So can you rank by best first?
Yes, you can. You just click on overall and you're able to now see, as you can see, the best to the most challenging within that role.
Okay, thank you.
And you're also able to, if you click on other matches for this job, look at anyone else that has been within your system. This can be other candidates that haven't gotten a role or internal teammates. They will be linked to this job if they have a strong score and a strong profile towards what you're looking for. Other matches for this job are just recommendations from our software. You're able to kind of filter through that. These are people that haven't actually applied for the job. And then if you ever want to search for specific candidates, if you have someone in mind that you think would be strong position in this role, you can just write their name and then you can integrate their software, their assessment on top of the targets we've assigned. So you really do have that option to play around with it and view the targets accordingly to the candidates that you have. We can always modify. So if you ever want to change the factors, you can just click on modify and this will allow you to manually change it. And then at the top right, we have that job report. The job report is kind of your resource, your holy grail. You use it to make sure you're filtering through the right candidates. It shows what you're looking for. And if I scroll down, I'm able to see that summary and the job characteristics, the specifics of what I want. What our clients usually do is they copy and paste parts of the summary and the characteristics directly into their job postings so they can have candidates that align with what you guys have set as your target. And at the bottom, we have our PI masters. These masters are just those behavioral and cognitive target points that you have set with your stakeholders' input. Do you guys have any questions at all about the behavioral target, cognitive target portion?
So kind of like what I learned was, let's say if the ideal jobs, let's say I'm looking for a lawyer and whatever way I've scored it is there's a 10, that number in that lower screen, behavior match, or sorry, overall match, it says how close they are to that 10 that I'm looking for.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, cool. That's cool. That's
So
cool.
the 10 is essentially this target you've set, right? So
Yeah.
everyone kind of has to add up to that. So you'd
That's
always
cool.
want to have someone the most specific. The ones in the greens are the ones we would say go for interviews. Anything below green is not the target profile that you would be looking for.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. That's cool. I should say I'm saying. Okay, so then how would I know if somebody's, without taking the 3-day course, which at some point I'm sure we should, how do I know if somebody is by the book versus not by the book?
So what I would do is, are you meaning like, are they going to be as accurate as they're saying within their graphs?
No, I think the good example is the lawyer. Do they have integrity, very straight-laced? We don't want anyone that slightly bends the rules. So it's more that.
Okay, so that would then have to be, I guess, because our software allows you to see that accurate representation of what they say they are. So then now after understanding how to read that, you'd be able to kind of assess whether this individual is actually up their target or the reference profile. I don't know if I could appropriately answer if that individual would be by the book or not, but really we just use that science to indicate their self-awareness and their ability to kind of take on a specific role.
So correct me if I'm wrong, it would be when you were saying we could tick all the ones to fit a profile. For the lawyer one, we would make sure that sticks to rules or whatever the wording may be that are relevant to is by the book.
Exactly. Yeah. So you would then from that job assessment go through it in detail. And like I said, you always need to go with someone who knows the specifics of the role. So let's say you have already a previous lawyer on your team, bring them in, allow them to take that job assessment so they can tell you exactly what you need for your next lawyer.
Yeah, understood. Okay, cool.
Last year I did a graph because we were doing the interviews for the chief banking officer.
Yeah.
and I know the qualities of each profile. So for example, by the book are the analyzer, the controller, the strategist, and
The analytical
the
profiles.
specialist. Yeah, and the specialist.
Exactly.
So I
But
will
I can,
share with you the graph again so you can have like the main things of each profile.
Amazing.
yeah, so definitely that's a part of, we have our subcategories of each reference profiles. We have analytical profiles, social profiles, stabilizing profiles, and persistent profiles. What I can do following up this call is send you guys our reference profile package. This is kind of like us overview of each profile, giving you details of where they lie and the details of the references. So this could kind of give you a cheat sheet on understanding that. So I can definitely follow up and send that to you three.
Sure, that I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. So I'm going to jump back to the dashboard. But that's all I wanted to really focus on for you guys with that higher portion. I know you guys are still getting used to the software and getting in and out of it. But do you guys have any specific questions for me at this point?
No.
So we have to tick all of those boxes first before we send a job thing out, or we can just choose a template, is it?
Yeah, you can choose the template, but I highly recommend that you set your target before you send it out to candidates.
So that's what we should do for the lawyer, because the person we interviewed the other day obviously hasn't completed it.
Yeah, and then once they do complete it, the assessment, you're able to compare and contrast their results with the target you've set. So I would definitely recommend before sending out any assessments to candidates, work on your job profile target.
Got it.
So are you guys still wanting to proceed with the lawyer? Sorry, I forgot his name that we met with.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to fill up the assessment. He still hasn't done it.
He hasn't received it because his name's not in our system. It would say,
Oh,
would-
got
I
it.
sent
That's
him the
correct, yeah.
link,
yeah.
but
So
I sent him the link.
we need to set
should
him up
we-
in our system with his name and
Oh.
email address and send him the link.
Oh, okay.
But do you want to do it specific, Taimour, like what Sidra is telling us, or do you want to do it based on a template?
I guess the recommendation is to go by a template. Oh, sorry. And let me tell you what I heard. I want to tell you what I heard. To start with your default template, and then you use the word best practices.
Yes,
Click on more options.
exactly.
And then click on more options to do that.
Yeah, the job assessment. Yeah, so you can use a template. We offer the template because it has been used by other clients. It has been proven to be successful. But for your specific company and the standards you need for your lawyer, for example, I would always recommend go through that job assessment just so you can fine tune it and have the specifics for what you're looking for.
Okay, good.
But if you're in this rush situation, you want to use just the standardized lawyer assessment target that we have, use it.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
No worries. Now, on my end, that's all I really have to share. I will be following up with an email. This will provide you an onboarding guide. Onboarding guide gives you details of the software, quick questions. You can always look back at that guide and I'll answer it. I will also be sending you how-to videos. These are 2 to 3 minute long videos. They're tutorials basically showing you how to send out assessments, how to create those team discoveries, job benchmarks, all of that. And then finally, that reference profiles, as you guys have requested, I will definitely send that out as well.
Thank you so much.
No worries. So that's all on my end. Do you guys have any last questions?
Not for now, until we go live.
Yeah.
I'm sure
You
we'll
can
be live.
always, yeah,
Oh,
you can,
I forgot to ask. How do you do?
how do I do what? Sorry?
Russ, your eyes looks confused.
Yeah, I know.
guess-
I'm not.
I guess
what
we
is-
have a few questions.
No, I was waiting for you to finish your sentence. You didn't finish the sentence.
I said, all I was saying is that, once we go live, I'm sure we'll have more questions to ask.
Yeah.
All right. We thought you had a specific question.
Yeah, I thought you had a
How do
specific.
I was like waiting.
No, I thought you had a specific question as well, but you're right, Taimour. Once you do go live and you really play around with it, you might have more questions, you can always reach out to the client success team, including myself. Where you can use this as much as you want. There's no limit to it. So you can always book a call, shoot an email, and I'll be there to support in any technical aspect.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No
Great.
worries. Okay, well, have a nice rest of your day, guys. Bye.
And you, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.